Shalom everybody, Daniel from Ancient Biblical Oils. I thought I'd just jump on here quickly and make another controversial video on the subject of religion. Okay, so I cannot tell you how many people we've interacted with in the last 5 years, thousands of people, and we always get into this conversation about religion. And today you'll have people with a very negative perspective of religion, people talking about a religious perspective or etc. etc. Right? A religious spirit. However, we believe that it's a misunderstanding. Right? Why? Because, like we shared before, there is hardly any words in the scripture which are or in life that are 100% evil or good. Right? There are a few words like evil itself, good, like adultery is evil, blessing is good, etc., etc. But most of the other stuff is neutral. Now we believe one of the main things that has caused us to suffer this lack of understanding within the word is translation. Okay? Taking the word outside of the original language and cultural context. Now, it's a beautiful thing, I agree, that the word's gone all over the world and that everybody has got access to the word. However, we all have to agree that a lot of stuff has been lost in translation. Okay? Especially so when you're looking at a language like English. English is a very dynamic language. What a word means today is not what it will mean in even 50 years' time. Okay, I'll give you a quick example. A couple 100 years ago, not even 100 years ago, maybe 100 years ago, the word gay meant happy, right? Today, we all know that that word means something totally different. Okay, now Hebrew we understand to be the language of creation, right? And we believe that the Hebrew language controls how everything functions. And because it's the language of creation, it's the Bitcoin of languages, it is very stable, right? There's a lot of checks and balances in the language, in that a word doesn't just mean what the word means. There's ways to actually understand from the genetic makeup of the word of what the word actually is supposed to be meaning. What's the message that's supposed to be coming through? So we look at the idea of father quickly, okay? English translation or understanding of father today, I don't know what dictionary this is, but this is one I have on the internet. Wrong. Where is it? The relationship of a man towards his child or children is the English definition of father. However, is that the Hebrew definition of father? No, right? Hebrew word for father, av. Aleph, beit is the way that you spell that Hebrew word. Aleph, the pictograph, is a strong ox, right? A leader. And beit is the pictograph of a home. So what does father mean? According to the Father in heaven, a father is the strong ox, the strong leader of the home. Okay? Now that definition is never going to change. No matter how many years fly by, that's the definition that was given at the time of Adam, and that's the definition today. Okay? So, religion. First and foremost, that word obviously is not a Hebrew word. It's an English word. So because all of us are in this English world or whatever the case may be, let's look at the idea of religion from an English perspective first. Okay? So the actual meaning of religion, this is the meaning. Get ready for this, right? Evil stuff. Listen carefully. The belief and worship of a superhuman controlling power, especially a personal god or gods. Now I ask you, does that sound evil? Right? To me, that doesn't sound evil. That actually sounds on point. Right? How did the belief and worship of a superhuman controlling power, especially a personal god or gods, turn into something evil? It says that somebody's got a religious spirit. Right? And you may say, okay, no. Our idea today of how, because English is dynamic and therefore the definitions of things keep on changing, the understanding of religious today is getting into some sort of repetitive process, right? Now, the thing is, repetition is the mother of all skill. In fact, the reason why we have the things around us is because of repetition, all right? I don't know how repetition could be evil in itself. In fact, when you look at the idea, the etymology of the English word religion, it comes from the idea of being yoked, right? That's when you take two animals and you yoke them together. Now, the thing I want to ask you is to say, from a biblical perspective, is yoking evil, right? No. We have, a text that should come to your mind is the text that says, do not be unequally yoked, right? So we understand for sure, an unequal yoking is not a good idea, right? However, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob commands us. He says, take up my yoke, because my yoke is easy. So if the foundation of the word for religion is yoking, and the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob tells us, take up my yoke, what does that tell us? Right? He's saying, take up my religion. What is my religion? That which is recorded from Genesis through to what's the end of the Bible? Revelations, right? Genesis through to Revelations. Now, the fact of yoking, okay, do we see repetitive actions within yoking? Yes, right? The ancient idea, I think also part of the issue is that we don't live agrarian lives anymore, so we have no idea about the language used in the kingdom of planting and sowing. So when you yoked animals, you took the leader animal and you yoked the lesser animal to the leader animal, and they went into the field, right? And the thing that you'd be doing is plowing. And guess what plowing is? Repetitive action. Very straight lines up and down your field. What is the field? The field is likened unto the kingdom. What is the seed? Likened unto word. What does the seed produce? The bread of life, right? So the bread of life, fertile place where any sane person would be putting seeds, is linked to this idea of yoking, which is therefore linked to the idea of religion, right? Religion in itself is not evil. In fact, I put it to you, this is a saying that Abba Father put on my heart a couple of years ago. You can have a religion without relationship, but guess what? You cannot have a relationship without religion. Right? Let me say that again. You can have a religion with no heart, no relationship, but you can never ever have a relationship without religion. Now, what do I mean? Husband and wife, right? Marriage, the highest human relationship that exists. If you do not do repetitive things within your marriage, you have no relationship. You do not stay in the same house repetitively. You do not sleep in the same bed repetitively. If you do not have covenant intimacy repetitively, if you do not say loving and relationship building words repetitively, you have no relationship. Same with family, interfamily relationships with our kids, right? If you don't repetitively prepare them food, repetitively help them get ready for their day, teach them, love them, hug them, you have no relationship. So for sure, Abba Father hates a heartless religion, right? However, we need to understand that it is impossible to have a true relationship with Him without religion. Right? It's the heart, circumcised heart, and the physical actions that come out of a circumcised heart, right? Not just the physical actions, the repetitive physical actions that come out of a circumcised heart is the thing that the great King desires. Okay? Now, that's looking at it from an English perspective, and like we said, the word religion is actually not in the word. Okay? From a Hebraic perspective, we need to understand every single concept that we have, religion, marriage, whatever the case may be, these are not concepts which it is that all of a sudden poofed into existence with the Western world. Right? These are, if they're true, they are concepts which existed from the time of Adam, from the time of Adam. Okay? So when we look at the Old Testament, this idea of religion has to be there. All right? And where it is that our Jewish brothers tell us that the idea of religion actually comes from is from this text, Deuteronomy 33 verse 2. It says, and Yahweh came from Sinai and rose up from Seir unto them. He shined forth from Mount Paran, and he came with 10,000s of saints From his right hand went a fiery law for them. Right? So this word, fiery law, is a mixture of two words, Aish and Da'at. Right? So Aish is fire and Da'at is law. Or maybe not law, the way it is that it is broken down a little bit more in detail. Statute, commandment, commission, decree, law, manner. When you speak to our Jewish brothers, you speak about the word religion, they speak of da'at. Right? Now the thing is, like we said, the Hebrew language is the language of creation, and inside of the Hebrew language you have pictographs, numerical values, and all these things keep the language meanings stable. So the pictograph that makes up the Hebrew word da'at, guess what it is? Dalit and Tav is how you actually spell it. Dalit is door and Tav is covenant. So guess what the Hebrew word for religion actually means from a pictographic perspective? The door to the covenant. All right? I don't think that anyone could refuse that description. If you look at the idea of marriage, the door to the covenant, what's going to happen? When you meet this man or this woman that you want to get into covenant relationship, there are repetitive things that are going to take place. You've never met before, but all of a sudden you're going to meet, and you're not just going to meet once. In some cultures you may meet once. But you're going to meet, and there's some repetitive stuff that's going to take place in order for you to form the relationship to get to the place where you realize to say, I want to make covenant. And then you make covenant with this person who it is that you've been with. Okay? So the door to covenant is repetitive action. Book of Acts 15. 5 rules given to every single Gentile who wants to start a covenant relationship with the Messiah. Repetitive stuff about what you eat. But the most repetitive thing, it says that you will attend synagogue on Shabbat and you will hear the terms and conditions of the covenant. You will hear the heart of this husband, and you will then choose, hey, is this a good husband? Is he a good God to actually serve and for me to walk my life out with? Is this a good ox? Because the word Elohim or God means strong ox, right? The leader, the ultimate leader of the universe. So you'll be asking yourself to say, is this a strong leader for me to be yoked to walk up and down the field of the kingdom? Will it benefit me? Right? And then after it is that you have done this or spent this time to get to know this leader, you make your decision to either get into the covenant or not. Okay, so like I said before, we're always open for discussion, so you're welcome to shoot some messages through. Exciting times as we return to the ancient past and restore our relationship with the great King. Blessings. Shalom.